Men's and women's ice hockey teams welcome fans back inside the M&T Bank Arena this weekend. How did the two teams do?
The Quinnipiac women's soccer team continued their hot streak of play against MAC opponents. Find out who their latest victims were.
And the Quinnipiac volleyball team is finally gearing up to play in Hamden after a long road trip. Find out how their week went as they finally prepare for some home games.
We have highlights, analysis, and breakdown of all things Quinnipiac sports coming at you right now on Sports Paws.
Welcome inside Studio 125 for another episode of Sports Paws. I'm Ethan Logan. Sitting right beside me, making his Sports Paws debut, is my right-hand man, Andrew Reynolds. Andrew, how are you feeling tonight making your Sports Paws debut?
I'm pretty excited, a little nervous, but you know what? I'm excited to do this and cover Quinnipiac sports for you all today.
All right, that's great to hear. I'm glad you're excited. Well, it's finally that time of the year. The weather is getting chillier, the leaves are starting to turn, and fans are once again packing the newly renamed M&T Bank Arena to watch some Quinnipiac ice hockey. Following a weekend sweep against Maine last weekend in Maine, the Quinnipiac women's ice hockey team hosted the number 15 Boston College Eagles on Saturday afternoon. Could Cass Turner's squad make a statement in their home opener? Well, let's find out. The number 15 Boston College Eagles paid a visit to Hamden to take on the number 7 Quinnipiac women's ice hockey team. Let's get right into the action. First period of play, Alexa Hoskin carries the puck around two BC defenders and rips one right at the top of the dot to give the Bobcats a 1-0 lead. Some great skill shown off right there from Hoskin. The Bobcats, that's the only goal in that period, so we'll head into the first intermission with QU up 1-0. Moving on to the second period of play, and right out of the gate, 3:58 into the period, and off the face-off, it's Courtney Vorster risking a shot on net, and Madison Chandler puts back the rebound for her first collegiate goal, sending the lead for the Bobcats to 2. Again, only goal of the period, so QU takes a 2-0 lead into the third. As we move into the third period, where once again we're seeing getting right into the game action with Shea Maloney finding Chandler for her second goal of the game, bringing the Bobcats lead to 3. And then 5 minutes later, and it's a play from Mia Lapata. It goes off a BC attacker's skate and goes to Nina Steigoff, who finds a wide open Maya Labad on a 2-on-1 break with Lapata. She looks her off and roofs it, giving the Bobcats a 4-0 lead. And about 8 minutes later, a breakout pass from Maddie Samaskevich finds a streaking Jess Shriver, who eventually passes to Chandler for her third and final goal in the contest, giving Quinnipiac the 5-0 lead and giving her the first hat trick. Quinnipiac rolls and wins 5-0.
Madison Chandler had a breakout performance on Friday, and she is just a first year. There is no doubt that the 17-year-old has a bright future ahead of her here at Quinnipiac. With more on her incredible hat trick in her debut game at the M&T Bank Arena, we have women's ice hockey beat reporter Clever Streich.
Imagine hitting the ice for your first ever collegiate ice hockey game. The pressure, the nerves that have to be mounting, especially if your parents are in seats just like these, watching your every move. However, Madison Chandler took that pressure and decided to make it an opportunity for herself, as she had a hat trick in tonight's 5-0 win over the Boston College Eagles.
The third goal, I was like, no way, this just happened, and my parents were here. This is the first time they've watched me play a collegiate game, so it was pretty exciting just for them to see that.
The crowd weren't the only ones tipping their hats for the performance, as head coach Cass Turner was thoroughly impressed with Chandler's play.
Yeah, Chance, she's a big-time player. Like, she just has her mental game is phenomenal. You know, she plays with such confidence and is incredibly coachable. She's calm when you talk to her on the bench, and she's had that poise under pressure for years. And you know, she showed it in the 18 World Championships, scoring a huge game-winning goal for Canada. And you know, I'm excited that she was able to find that so quick.
On a night where the spotlight could have solely remained on Chandler, she still credited her teammates for giving her confidence and welcoming her as part of the larger unit.
Yeah, just coming in, they've been so welcoming and so helpful, so supportive, and I think that's what a good team takes, is a very supportive group, one that's there for one another and trust each other, and that's exactly what we did.
Madison Chandler and the Bobcats will prepare for their next home game to be played on Sunday against New Hampshire. Reporting from inside the M&T Bank Arena, Clever Streich, Q30 Sports.
Thanks, Clever. The Bobcats were also in action on Sunday afternoon, hosting yet another Hockey East opponent, the UNH Wildcats. Let's roll the tape. The Quinnipiac welcomed the UNH Wildcats two-handed on Sunday, and look who gets the start in the first period. We got Katie Boudette, her the backup, getting the start for the night. She's looking to build on a two-game shutout streak for the Bobcats, so let's get right into the first period. Quinnipiac on the power play. Jess Shriver wires a pass to Olivia Mobley, and the Bobcats captain Lexia Gia, leading by example, provides the deflection to give the Bobcats a 1-0 lead. Now moving on to the second period, Bobcats rushing up the ice as Mobley enters the zone and feeds the puck to first-year Madison Chandler, who flings it high left side. Her fourth goal of the weekend. She is having a heck of a weekend. Bobcats now up by 2. As we go into the third period, from here on out, it is Boudier's time to shine. She's going to come up with some big saves here. Check out this breakaway chance. UNH's Kira Jadokis ends up getting denied by Boudier's pads. A couple minutes later, Boudier makes a huge glove save to tame the Wildcats. Boudier ends up locking down a save shutout. That's 18 save shutout, and QU takes the 2-0 victory over UNH. Last weekend, the Bobcats traveled up to Orono to face off against the Maine Black Bears. 2 Bobcats made the list for ECAC Hockey Weekly Awards. Katie Boudier won the MAC goaltender of the week after her performance against Maine on Saturday, making 26 saves out of 26 shots on goal. And the Bobcats' 3-0 shutout victory. The other Bobcat who won an ECAC award was Olivia Mobley, as she received the Player of the Week accolades after her game-tying and game-winning overtime goal on Saturday, and her 2 assists on Saturday in both games versus Maine. The USCHO poll for women's ice hockey came out today, so let's see where Quinnipiac ranks. Looking at the pool, the Bobcats sit at 7th, which bumps them up 1 spot compared to last week. In first, the 2021-2022 national champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes. In second is the Minnesota Golden Gophers, followed by the Northeastern Huskies at 3. At number 4 is Minnesota Duluth. And then at 5 is Wisconsin, followed by fellow ECAC members Colgate Raiders. And ranked just below the Bobcats at number 8 is the Yale Bulldogs, another ECAC rival. After a long-awaited return, the Quinnipiac men's hockey team took the ice in an exhibition match against the Toronto University Varsity Blues. Prior to the game, the Bobcats were ranked number 7 in the country, so let's see if they met expectations. Getting right into the game, the Bobcats came out strong, tallying 2 goals in the first period, with goals coming from CJ McGee and Zach Metza. Into the second period, the Bobcats got themselves another goal early into the second off a power play, which put them up by 3. But Toronto did not give up as they rallied back into the second and they got back with the final seconds of the game, tying it, getting it within 1. But the Bobcats ended any chances of a complete comeback after an empty netter as time expires to clinch the 4-2 victory for the Bobcats.
Following the 4-2 win over Toronto, the men's ice hockey team played host to Providence College in another exhibition game on Sunday afternoon. As we will jump into the highlight here, Quinnipiac, as I mentioned, coming off that 4-2 win, taking on Providence in another exhibition game. We'll get right into it. First period of play, and it's Anthony Cipollone getting the scoring started for Quinnipiac as the puck finds the back of the net. A little bit of puck luck there, but Bobcats take that 1-0 lead into the first intermission. Now we will transition into the second period of play. Now it's CJ McGee. He scored against Toronto, and he will add another goal here as he shoots it off the rebound to extend the Bobcat lead to 2. Quinnipiac would go into the second intermission up 2-1 after Providence's Riley Duran tacked on the goal late. But early in the third period, Quinnipiac on the 5-on-3 man advantage, and it's Ethan DeYoung scoring to ignite the crowd. Bobcats up 3-1. And then 4 minutes later, the Bobcats are on another power play, as we see the replay there on DeYoung's goal. And Bobcats are on another power play. They would score. Ethan DeYoung gets his second power play goal of the game to make it 4-1. Providence would add a late goal to make it 4-2, but Quinnipiac win both games 4-2 on the weekend. Every Monday, USCHO.com releases their Division I men's ice hockey poll with the latest rankings around college hockey. And it's once again good news for the Quinnipiac men's ice hockey team, as they have moved up 1 spot in the 6th following their weekend exhibition wins. The Bobcats were also one of 5 teams in the country to receive a first-place vote. Denver is currently the #1 team in the country, receiving 41 out of 50 first-place votes. Quinnipiac ECAC hockey rivals Harvard, Clarkson, and Cornell have also been placed in the top 20 of this week's poll. Joining us live in studio now is Quinnipiac men's ice hockey beat reporter Aiden Barrett with the latest on Rand Pecknold's team. What do you have for us, Aiden?
Ethan, thank you. Quinnipiac started and ended exhibition play this weekend with 42 wins over the University of Toronto and Providence. And you know what? It was the same score, same story, same formula in all 2 games. The Bobcats put up a lot of shots early, a lot of shots on net. They took the early lead. They made it the rest of the way super difficult for these teams to get back into the game. Quinnipiac had multiple goal leads in both games before the other teams even scored. Actually, if you go back to that game against Toronto, they had a multiple goal lead before Toronto even had multiple shots on goal. That's a pretty good way to start the game. That's how Quinnipiac want to start that game. Rand talked about it. They wanted to get a fast start. They want to see what they have right now, keep evaluating as we are still in exhibition play or just finish up exhibition play. And there were some things that we saw, some things we liked, some things we wanted to see. And that's where I want to go next with it. There were a few players who stood out to me. Number 1, Colin Graff. Coming over from Union, look, you wanted to see this guy play well to start off, and that's exactly what he did for Quinnipiac. He's a transfer over from Union, and he's a guy who they expected to have a big role with Quinnipiac this year, and he had 2 assists and 6 shots on net, playing honestly on a top role, top line. Obviously, during preseason, you want to switch up your lines a little bit, and Colin Graff was always on that top line for most of the play this season on exhibition play. And you know what? He had a really good weekend. Another guy who I would look to was Ethan DeYoung. And obviously this guy is a guy who we really want to see a big season from, because we look back to last season, you know, you lose Ty Smolonic to the transfer portal. Wyatt Bon Giovanni is moving on. Here's a guy who was a top goal scorer for this team. So he obviously, you want to see him have a good weekend. He did. CJ McGee also got 2 goals himself after 1 goal in his previous 2 years here with Quinnipiac. And you also saw Anthony Cipollone get his first goal. Super excited to see Bobcats play as they go on to play this Friday against Boston College.
Thank you, Aiden. Great stuff. Well, it's time for our first break of the night.
Don't go anywhere, as when we come back, we will have updates on the latest on all things Quinnipiac men's and women's soccer.
We'll see you guys in 2 minutes.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction
And response time.
which can be really dangerous. It's here. It's here.
Wait.
What?
I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. Thanks for sticking around as we still have a lot to cover on this fine Monday night. The Quinnipiac women's soccer team hosted MAC rival, the Siena Saints, on Wednesday afternoon. Let's see how they fared. It was a Wednesday game, and going into the game, they are undefeated against MAC opponents. From the kickoff, it seemed pretty easy to see how dominant Quinnipiac was against the Saints. As you can see right here, shot on net, pretty first 3 minutes. It was a close game, but then as we got right into the nick of things, Olivia Scott passed it to Courtney Chokel, who finds a speedy Rebecca Cook down the left side of the field, and she shoots it in the bottom left corner of the net. Quinnipiac is up 2-0 here. We see Chokel again, and she finds no other than Cook, who nails this beautiful shot over the Saints' Angela Feeney to extend the lead 3-0. We like seeing it 2 times. Why not 3 times? Chokel sauces it inside to Cook, who gets her 3rd goal of the game. Quinnipiac is now up 4-0. Still in the first half, Ella Gagno then responds to Cook by then saying, hey, I can score too, as she helps give the Bobcats a 5-0 cushion entering halftime. And in the second half, another goal from Cook. The Bobcats with a 6-0 edge as Kayla Mingachos from way downtown to put the nail in the coffin. The Quinnipiac Bobcats end up taking this one for the final score of 7-1. The Bobcats stayed in state to take on the Fairfield Stags on the road on Sunday. Could they continue their successes from their game against Siena? Let's take a look. The Bobcats continue to stay undefeated in MAC play after a win over the Stags 3-2. Rebecca Cook continued her outstanding season with 2 goals on the day, including the game winner. She's been having an impressive run this season, now up to 16 goals on the year. The Stags and the Bobcats split the shot count at 7 apiece and also received 12 fouls each. The Bobcats now are 4-0 in MAC play, and they will turn attention to Marist, who they will play on Wednesday at 7 p.m.
With the week over and the team with 2 more wins under their belt, one player on the Quinnipiac women's soccer team was able to bring home an award this week. Stop me if you've heard this one before, but Rebecca Cook once again took home MAC Player of the Week honors after tallying 6 goals and 12 points in just 2 games this week. That, simply put, it's not normal. 4 of her goals came against Siena, with the other 2 coming against Fairfield over the weekend. Cook now has recorded 16 goals in just 10 games, which is obviously tops in the conference and is currently the most in the nation. Quite the start to the season for Cook, to say the least. Now, with the awards out of the way, let's transition over and take a look at the updated MAC women's soccer standings. And as you can see on your screen right there, Quinnipiac still sits atop the MAC with a 4-0 overall conference record and an 8-1-1 overall record. Fairfield, the team the Bobcats took down on Saturday, sit right behind the Bobcats with a 3-1 conference record and overall record of 8-3. Mount St. Mary's, Manhattan, and Siena round out the bottom 3 teams in the conference. And the Bobcats will play next on Wednesday when they travel to Poughkeepsie, New York, to take on MAC opponent Marist. Switching locker rooms, the Quinnipiac men's soccer team traveled to Loudonville, New York for a matchup with the Siena Saints on Wednesday. Quinnipiac ultimately came up short, falling to the Saints by a final score of 2-1. Zach Garner opened the scoring for Siena just 2 minutes into the contest and took a 1-0 lead into halftime. Quinnipiac started the second half strong as David Bercedo found the back of the net just 13 minutes in. However, Siena was quick to respond as Thomas Sortingard scored what would go on to be the game winner. The loss drops the Bobcats' record to 5-3-1. Following the loss to Siena, the Bobcats looked to rebound at home against in-state rival Fairfield. Let's see how they fared. Quinnipiac men's soccer team hosted in-state rival Fairfield, as I just mentioned, on Saturday. It's their MAC conference home opener for Quinnipiac. 2 teams lining up, just getting ready for the game. We'll jump straight into the first half of play, 13th minute, and it's Fairfield getting the first opportunity of the game. Raz Amir has a one-on-one with Carl Netzel, but Netzel picking up the save right there, using his right hand, a great save. And then minutes later, Domin Bozic has space and takes a shot. That towers into the top corner of the net. Quinnipiac takes the 1-0 lead. Still in the first half, 33rd minute, some confusion in the Quinnipiac box off a free kick leads to a Fairfield opportunity. and they are able to capitalize off Quinnipiac's mistake. They tie the game up at 1 heading into halftime. Now we will go into the second half of play, and it's Alexander Sterngard with a cross into the box. And as you'll see, a little bit unusual here, but it hits no one. It goes straight into the net. Quinnipiac and Sterngard will most certainly take that. They take the 2-1 lead. Now in the 67th minute, and it's going to be a Fairfield volley, which finds the back of the net. Stags equalize the game up at 2 with just over 20 minutes to go. However, just 5 minutes later, it's the speedy Jason Budai finding himself on a breakaway. Great through ball right there. Flag stays down, and he's able to score what would go on to be the game winner. You can see the celebration there. It obviously means a lot to Budai and the Bobcats. Quinnipiac beats Fairfield 3-2 and picks up a huge conference win.
With the Bobcats' first conference matchups in the book, let's see how the standings have changed in the MAC and where Quinnipiac sits. Looking at the MAC standings, Quinnipiac sits in 5th with a 1-1 conference record and a 6-3-1 overall record. In first is the Niagara Purple Eagles, in second is the Siena Saints, and in third is the Manhattan Jaspers. Following that is the 1-0 Iona Gales. Below Quinnipiac are Marist, the Mount Ann, Fairfield, which rounds the top 8 at the moment in highly competitive MAC conference. It's time for our second and final break of the night. When we come back, we have volleyball and field hockey highlights and standings, as well as everyone's favorite top plays of the week.
We'll be right back.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Jules, spotlight on this last one. There it is. Keep going with it. Leo.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job.
I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing.
After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working.
I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this.
You will find something.
You will find something new.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. Thank you for sticking with us as we enter the home stretch of tonight's episode. Quinnipiac volleyball team, better known as the Road Warriors, traveled to Fairfield for a MAC matchup against the Fairfield Stags. Could they get in the win column? Let's find out. Fairfield and Quinnipiac, a good MAC matchup here. Kyle Robinson getting his team ready for that Fairfield attack, a very dangerous Fairfield attack, I may add. Let's take a look right here into the first set of play, and it's Yagmir Ganesh digging it to her sister Damla Ganesh, who sets it up for Alexander Tenen, who comes in with the kill. Check out that hang time. Then let's say in the first set, Fairfield's Abby Yandro sets it up for Allie Elliott, but Nicole Legg prevents the kill and gets the point for Quinnipiac. Now on the second set, it's Tenen on the right side of your screen trying to put this one away, but Blakely Montgomery kept it alive, but Ariana Diaz makes sure it's Quinnipiac's point. Let's continue in the second set. It's none other than the reigning MAC Player of the Year, KJ Johnson, who commits the kill. Now we will transition into the third and final set. QU down 0-2. And then it's Quinnipiac's Tenon with the kill, which ties it at 21. Check out the emotion from Tenon and the rest of the Bobcats. But later on in the set, it's game point for Fairfield, where Johnson kills it for the Fairfield victory. They win 3-0. And Quinnipiac will finally play a home game as they host Marist on Wednesday. Now that we are all up to date with the Quinnipiac volleyball team, let's take a look at and see where Kyle Robinson's squad sits in the conference. And as you can see, the Bobcats are still struggling as we approach the midway point of the season. QU is currently sitting in 8th out of the 10 teams and has still not found their groove. Quinnipiac is currently 1-4 in conference play and 2-10 overall. Fairfield, Iona, and Marist are your top 3 teams in the conference, and the only 2 teams below the Bobcats are Manhattan and St. Peter's. One piece of good news for QU, they finally will be playing at home after a month and a half of road games.
Transitioning from the courts to the turf, the Quinnipiac field hockey team traveled to Lynchburg, Virginia to take on the number 14 ranked Liberty University. As you can see, this one was a one-sided affair as Liberty cruised to the win over the Bobcats. The stats show the domination as Liberty beat Quinnipiac with the shots on goal with a total of 14-1. But goalkeeper Christina Torres kept Quinnipiac in this one with 9 saves on the day. The Flames also led in penalty corners with 9 over Quinnipiac 0, and the Flames were able to score off of 2 of them and ultimately come up with a 5-0 win over the Quinnipiac Bobcats. The field hockey team looked to bounce back after that tough loss to Liberty as they traveled down to Whitney Ave to take on their rival, the Yale University Bulldogs. The Bobcats and the Bulldogs were neck and neck up until the end of the game, and it needed overtime, but in the end, the Bobcats came up short as they fell to the Bulldogs 2-1. Looking at the stats, it shows that it was a close game as Yale led in shots 7-5, Yale led in penalty corners 6-2, and both teams were able to connect on 1 attempt each, including Yale's OT winner. As a result, the Bobcats moved to 4-7 on the year and will head to Storrs to take on the UConn Huskies on Friday afternoon. With the games against Liberty and Yale, let's see where the Bobcats are ranked in the Big East. After 2 tough losses to Big East opponents, the Bobcats fell to 7th place with a Big East Conference record of 0-3 and an overall record of 4-7. Atop the table are the defending champion Liberty Flames, who have a perfect in-conference record. Following them are the Old Dominion Monarchs, Temple Towels, UConn Huskies, and Providence Friars, who each have a record of 2-1 in Big East play. The Bobcats will fight for their first conference win against UConn later this week.
Andrew, you know what time it is?
I think it's time for top plays.
You're absolutely right. It's time for the top 5 plays of the week, and since it's your first time on desk, I think it's only fitting that you get us started.
Let's run it. Let's start off with play number 5. First year Alexander Sterngard passes to Jason Budai and runs all the way to the opponent's side and connects with a perfect shot in the bottom left corner.
That would go on to be the game-winning goal right there. Now on to play number 4. Alexa Hoskins skates past every Boston College defender, finds the open space and takes a wrist shot and finds the top left corner to pass goaltender Janelle Kelleher for the Bobcats' first goal of the game.
What a game that was. Dalma Ganesh sets it for Alexander Tenon for the third play, and it is dug out by Fairfield, and then Ariana Diaz with the rebound and the slam.
Now to play number 2 with some more women's ice hockey. We see Olivia Mobley skating onto the ice, getting past the defenders, and sees first-year Madison Chandler, and she connects. Now let's watch that replay as Mobley skates past everyone and has plenty of time to find Chandler, and she makes the shot look easy.
Now for the last play, Desi Burgard shoots and misses, then CJ McGee shows up out of nowhere and takes a perfect shot and scores. Let's look at that play one more time as Burgard shoots and goaltender Philip Vadbeck makes a very nice save, and then McGee takes the shot and hits the back of the net for his second goal of the game.
Quality top 5 plays. Now that we have wrapped up this week in Quinnipiac Athletics, let's take a look at what's ahead for the other teams on campus. And as you can see, good slate of games this weekend. Ice hockey fully back, men's team starting their season off, men's soccer and volleyball also in action.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that men's hockey game. It's the first game of the year. For women's hockey, it should be a great contest for the men's team, and the women's team also getting back into action. Well, that is unfortunately all the time we have tonight on Sports Paws. To keep up with all things Quinnipiac Sports, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Q30 Sports, and be sure to download the Q30 TV app, which is available to download in the App Store.
For everyone working hard behind the scenes and our fantastic producers, I'm Ethan Logue.
And I'm Andrew Reynolds. Have a great rest of your night.